All right, here we go. Hi, everybody. I'd like to welcome you to my next series of interviewing very special people in the network marketing industry. It's one of my favorite things to do. And today, I am so excited to have with me a very dear friend of mine now. He's a huge network marketing icon, $15 million earner, has a huge and fantastic reputation within our industry. And I'm so happy to be hanging out today with John Haremza, my dear friend. John, thanks so much for deciding to sit down with me and take the time and just kind of have a little chat, and so that we can kind of educate people on there on how you have been so successful. So thanks so much.
Well, thank you, Peggy. I'm excited to be here.
Well, great. And so let me just start with a couple of questions. Just kind of, if you could just give our audience like a little bit of a background on yourself, how you got started, when you got started, that type of thing, just so people kind of know a little bit about John Haremza.
Okay, well, I've actually been 27 years now in the industry. My background prior to entering the industry.
You were like 10.
What's that?
You started when you were 10.
Right. And so, I came to this industry like many people. Well, actually everybody, right? No experience in network marketing. I was actually a blue collar worker. High school education. I got a learning disability, I have dyslexia. And so when I got out of high school and went to work at this potato chip factory, loved to work with my hands. I was a welder, maintenance person, thought I had the best job I'd ever possibly get. And accidentally, which is also kind of the way most people get introduced to this, a friend invited me to his house to look at a water filter. This was 27 years ago. And you think about that, 27 years ago, in-home water filtration was somewhat cutting edge. Well, got excited about it, did that part-time for 6 months, then went full-time and made about $400,000 with that company and learned some very important lessons.
In your first time out?
Yeah, first time out.
Wow.
But I got involved in that company when it was in critical mass. Right. And what's kind of interesting, because the investment to get started was $5,000. And I think back and I wonder, if I could have gotten started for a few hundred, like most companies today, I wonder if I would have stuck it out, because I couldn't afford to lose $5,000, right. So yeah, that was my first experience, and, learned how important timing was and how important consumable products were. And, then I went and found another company called Rexall, where I spent 12 years. Actually $4 million in that 12-year window. And now I really thought I arrived. And, everybody says, well, what happened? And well, the company got sold, and then it got sold again. And I essentially lost my belief. And that's what I think networking is all about. I mean, the basis of it is belief. You have to believe in what you're doing. And I just didn't think anybody could do what I had done. And so, once again, I start to search, and then had the opportunity to become the master distributor for a company called Wayora, and have done that now for the last 12 years, and have made almost a little over 10 million with that company. And there's one other incident with that in conjunction with it. Anyway, that's kind of my story. You may again, why have I made a decision to do something different? It comes back to belief again, right? So.
Absolutely. But I mean, that just, is, I think, almost the exception to the norm, as far as somebody joining a company, for their very first time, not having an experience, and then hitting it out of the park with a $400,000 earning. I mean, that's incredible. So what did you do that maybe you can give somebody a little nugget? Like, how did you do that? Well,
and let me just, I want to share kind of an interesting fact about the industry of networking. Most people, make their money in network marketing in their second or third experience, and the reason for that is most people's first experience was like mine, right? I got involved in a company, in a huge company, and so I was too late. I'd missed the timing of the company, but I really got sold on the concept. Okay, so most people's second experience is they pick some startup business that doesn't make it. And then if they have any gas left in the tank, then they can maybe find their, their third one where, company a couple years old, doing a few $1 million a month in sales, where they've crossed that threshold of risk, but they enter that now really with the understanding and the proper belief, knowing that network marketing is a phenomenal business. And so they take the appropriate action where, sometimes people, if they join the right company, even at the right time, they still may miss it because they don't know what they have and they don't take it serious. By the time they realize what they have, they missed it even yet. And so that's why I'm so excited about what I'm doing right now is I know exactly where I am. But so I think, what was your question again?
It's okay. It was just kind of like, how in the heck did you do that your first time out of the gate? I mean, was it just your excitement of kind of the unknown? Did you just make a ton of phone calls? I mean, what did you do to create that sort of a success? I mean, because, frankly, anybody that would join a company for the first time would love to make $400,000 in their first time out, right? Some people get lucky like that. And a lot of it's not luck. Most of it's not luck, right? It's hard work. I mean, people, I think, have maybe a misconception about our industry where they can just kind of come here, show up, and not have to do very much and become a 7-figure earner. We know that's not the case, right? I mean, we've been around the block a little bit, and we definitely know that's not the case, right?
Yeah, it's funny as you're talking, there's so many things running through my head that I'd like to talk about. But, and again, that 400,000 was over the full 4-year window. It wasn't 400 a year, right? It was over the full 4-year window. But still, averaging 100,000 a year was
not bad.
$9 an hour was life-changing.
Right.
And I was 24 years old and I came into it completely, with a clean slate. I mean, I didn't have any bad habits. I did exactly what they told me to do. And probably the biggest thing, though, is you kind of mentioned it at the beginning. I was so excited. I mean, I kind of joke about it. I say when I, would talk to somebody, they didn't know what I was doing, and I didn't know what I was doing, but they still joined me, right? I mean, they could see that sparkle in my eye and that spring in my step, that, confidence in my voice. And so, yeah, I mean, it was massive action. I was super excited. And when you're on fire, people, will travel miles to watch you burn, right? I mean, you attract people.
Right.
And yeah, so
okay, so there's a lot of people out there that also have a misconception about network marketing, right? We all know that. And I always say that anybody that doesn't love this industry has never been sat down properly and explained the business model. Because if everybody knew how powerful this business model was, everybody would be doing this, in my opinion, just because it affords, I always say it's an equal earning playing field for everybody. You can come here and be a 5, 6, 7-figure earner without any experience whatsoever. And you can't do that out in corporate America. I mean, you have to be either formally educated or work your way up through a company after 20 or 25 or 30 years. Then you might get there. But, you really do have the ability to do that. So just give everybody a little bit of what is your take of network marketing? What is network marketing?
Well, number one, I agree with you 100%. If people knew what we knew, they'd be standing in line to do what we do, right? I mean, this truly is an amazing, amazing business concept. And really, that's all it is. It's just another method of distribution. And, I to help people understand it, I compare it to traditional methods of distribution, right? Retail. Think of a Target store, and you look at all the products sitting on the shelves and understand about 50% of the cost of those products is advertising, promotions to get you to pick them off the shelf. Because people say, well, how is it possible to make so much money in this industry? Because, we're not paying Tiger Woods, right? We're not, we don't have these high budget advertising campaigns. And that's where the money comes from. That 50% that's typically advertising is what funds the compensation structure, right. Pays people like you and I. But the other thing about, network marketing is you'll almost always find a higher quality of product than you find in traditional retail. Because if you look at retail, it's very price driven.
Right.
People shop price. In network marketing, it's result driven. Because if you're price driven, what gets sacrificed? Quality, right? If your success depends on results, you need to have a quality product. So you almost always find a higher quality of product. And one of the other things I talk about too is if you've ever been, and I'm sure you have, been to a big box store, You wonder if anybody actually works there. I mean, you can't get anybody to answer any question or help you with anything. And as far as getting on the phone, forget it too, right? In network marketing, there's like a team of people holding your hand, answering questions, bending over backwards to help you. And I mean, where can a person like me, blue collar worker, with just a few $100 investment or whatever, go on to make millions? It's you learn as you earn. It's just a phenomenal business.
I mean, me too. We both come from the same background. I mean, I was, I never went past a high school education either. And
I thought you were going to say you were a welder.
No, never did any welding. That's like Flashdance. No. But,
I remember that movie.
But it just goes to show that, I wouldn't be able to make the kind of money that I make in this industry out in corporate America, especially now, at my age and with what's happening out there. It's really difficult for even kids that are just getting out of college to, to get a job, and, even formally educated people. So, all right, so we kind of touched a little bit about tell me what are some of the things that people should look for when they're looking for a company. I know that there's those five or six basic concepts that, everything should be covered when you're looking for that perfect company. What are those?
Well, and the thing is, most people, for their first experience, I mean, it's just a friend or a family member, it's a product experience. They have no idea what they're getting involved in, right? They don't know what to look for. And so, having been around for so long, I know exactly what to look for. And I don't know if you can call it luck, wisdom or good fortune, but I haven't missed yet. I mean, every time, and I guess early on, I began to really understand, instead of making just an emotional decision, be drawn in by some hype or excitement or some shiny object, is really evaluating what an opportunity is made up of. Really 5 critical elements, right? The company, the product, compensation, timing, and training and support. And if 2 or 3 of those elements are missing, I mean, it doesn't matter how good you are or how hard you work, despite your best efforts, you're going to struggle. Right? I mean, you could take you and I, experienced network marketers. We know what we're doing. We, get involved in the wrong business where 2 or 3 of those elements are not in place, and we're going to struggle. Right? It's when all 5 of those elements come together where the magic happens and the fortunes are made. And then occasionally, you can find a company with what I call the 6th element, which is a bit difficult to explain. It seems like every few years or so, there's a company out there that just becomes the talk of the industry. And you're trying to, and sometimes it's like they don't even have it all together yet. And then you see another company that's just run like a well-oiled machine. They sit there and struggle and smolder. And I believe the difference is the 6th element, which is it's an energy, it's a vibe, it's an environment, it's a heart. It's a little hard to explain. It's more of a feeling. And so I believe I have that this time.
I do too. I'd have to agree with you on there. All right, I'm gonna reach up into my bookcase and I want to talk about this.
I like that book.
This is John's book, Right or Almost Right. It's an excellent, excellent book, excellent read. Tell me a little bit about the book.
Well, the inspiration behind the book was, having been involved in the industry for so long and traveling all over and meeting people and people are struggling. Mm-hmm. They're not making the money they had hoped, thought they would, but they think they're doing everything right. I mean, seemingly they're doing everything right. Sharp, quality, talented people, but yet they're not making the money. And what my belief or contention is they're probably doing it almost right? That's the title of the book, Right or Almost Right. It's really those little adjustments that make the difference between, struggling and thriving, a little or a lot. And it's true in everything we do. I mean, you can look at real estate, you can look at golfing. I mean, you look at Tiger Woods versus just an excellent golfer. I mean, maybe it's just something, little twist of the wrist, whatever it is. It's in many cases just minor adjustments. And so the book is very fundamental, takes what we do and really helps, hone in on the right versus the almost right. So
awesome. Well, we appreciate that you actually took the time to write it. It's helping a lot of people. So thank you. Thank you for that. So out of, some of the tools that you talk about in the book, what do you think is the most important tool?
Other than my book.
Other than your book, of course.
Yeah. Probably what I think is probably the most important tool is the three-way phone call.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, I learned the business over the three-way phone call, and it's really somewhat magical because, the three-way phone call and the concept here is putting your prospect on the phone with a member of your upline. And what happens is, number one, as your upline is answering questions, telling their story, overcoming objections, building rapport, moving that prospect towards a decision, all of that information is passing through your ears into your prospect's ears. So it becomes a learning experience for you. And so, I mean, you learn really the subtleties through the three-way phone call. And one other quick, point on that line, because some people think they know how to do it anyway, so then they won't do the three-way phone call. I still do the three-way phone call. Okay, even with my prospects, because everything you do sets an example of what other people think they have to do, right? They're going to pick up your good habits and your bad habits. And if three-way calling is important in the process of building belief and bringing people in, if you skip it, then they won't use it, right? And then it breaks things down. That might be one of those little adjustments.
Yeah, and even when just for an example, when I'm doing a three-way call with someone, I point out as we're on the three-way call, this is what we do. This is how you set yourself up, for for a three-way call with you. Do you see how the value? So even when I'm doing a three-way call, I always point out the fact that we are on a three-way call, and this is an important tool for you to use when you get started and join our team, and that we actually, make it mandatory. We want you to, bring us into the loop so that you can earn as you learn. And every time you're on a three-way call with somebody, you learn more especially as a new person.
Yeah, and I mean, you're building that new person's belief. I mean, not just the prospect, but you're building that new person's belief. And if it goes bad, you're there to pick them up off the floor, right? And if it goes good, you're there to pat them on the back. So, and it really builds that relationship. If there was another thing I would just say, and maybe you were going to ask me this, but keeping your people plugged in is crucial, because life is happening around all of us, and negative people, friends and family, there's always somebody trying to steal your dream. And so really at every level, right? I mean, I was on the call last night, and I get off the call last night and I'm jacked up, right? I mean, I'm excited, and so that new person, they have to stay plugged in if they really want to be here, because if they don't, they're probably not going to be around long.
Right. I never miss any of our corporate calls. I never miss our Saturday trainings. I do the same thing, because those calls feed me. I mean, they literally, it's like, because I equate it to, kind of having a gas tank. Your gas tank runs low, and those calls every couple of weeks, or every week, couple of times a week, they refuel you. And so I also, tell people it's absolutely mandatory. I couldn't agree with you more. So, let me ask you, if a person with or without, let's cover the whole gamut, with or without network marketing experience, what would be the, let's say the first, top 3 things that you would suggest that they do to get started?
Well, number one, obviously you've got to, make it a priority. Make, whatever that is, whether it's an hour a day or 10 hours a day, and stay consistent with that. I mean, consistency is one of the most important aspects of our business, because if you're not consistent, you're starting over all the time. This is where a lot of people fall short. I mean, they'll blitz for 2 weeks and then they'll disappear for 2 weeks, and it all disappears. So staying consistent, whatever that is. We already talked about staying plugged in, right? Staying plugged in is good, is key for everybody. Never forget what we get paid for, right? And especially, it doesn't matter if you're an experienced networker or you're somebody just getting started. We get paid to talk to people, right? Talk to people that are not yet using our products or involved in our business. And so until your income gets to $5,000 a month or more, that is where virtually 100% of your time needs to be spent. It's prospecting, talking to people, whether it's for yourself or doing 3-way calls with people on your team. If you stay focused on that, because that's the only way you're going to grow your business. The only way to grow your business is with new people.
Right.
And so, if you're flat, that's a good place to look, because once again, coming back to the example, Too many times people make that mistake. They bring a couple of people in and then they just want to be there to support them. And no, you want to take and, you want to be setting the example, doing the things you want your people to be doing.
Right. Yeah. I always tell people, if you feel like you're flat or you feel like you're, a little frustrated, it's probably because you're in management mode, which is what you were just talking about. That's that management mode. Because the most exciting part of our business is sharing this with new people. That, to me, it's like, I will, no matter how much money I'm going to make in this industry or in our company, I will never stop bringing new people in, because that is also what feeds me. Every single introducing this information to somebody new, that's where the electricity and the excitement is, and that's what we also get from doing the three-way call, right?
Absolutely.
Awesome. Well, is there any, so if you could just leave someone with a very special nugget, what would that be? I know I'm kind of throwing you under the bus for this one. What would be wow, if they could just walk away with one thing from our time together today, what would that be?
Well, I think, especially for new people coming in and also, as somebody that may be experienced, you need to understand that everybody goes through 3 stages. Okay. And that first stage is you're going to feel underpaid, right? Because you don't have any leverage. You're by yourself, right? And so you're going to feel like you're underpaid. And if you can make it through that, stay consistent and focused, you make it through that stage, all of a sudden then you're paid what you're worth. Hey, this is really making sense for me. And that's going to lead you to that third stage, is you're paid more than anyone's worth. Okay. And so, but too many times people are impatient, they'll work a job. I remember, talking to someone and they said, they've been working with me for 6 months and, they're only making $3,000 a month. And they say, this isn't working. And I'm like, well, how much do you make at your job? Well, I make about $3,000 a month. Well, how long have you been doing it? I've been doing it 15 years. Well, that hasn't worked either, right? I mean, you'll spend a lifetime at a job, but you won't give an opportunity a chance to mature and to develop. So, stay focused and consistent and give it that time.
Yes. Excellent, excellent advice. Well, John, thank you so much for hanging out with me today. I really, really appreciate you. I love working with you. I'm learning every single day from you. So I just really appreciate the time that you spent with me and everybody that's watching this today to kind of help. I mean, this is an industry that we obviously do this together, and that's kind of why I'm doing these series of videos, so that we can help people be successful. Because there's nothing better than watching people that be successful in this industry, and I just absolutely love it. So thank you again.
Thank you, and it's a pleasure to be here. And you never stop learning in this industry. I'm learning doing the interview with you, little nuggets from you, and so everybody learns from everybody. So thank you very much.
Thank you. All right, we'll see you again soon.
Okay.
Okay.